Welcome to Hidden Coin Value It. What if the change in your pocket could secretly make you a millionaire overnight? Right now, somewhere in America, someone might be carrying around a 2000p dime without realizing it's not just 10 cents but potentially worth a staggering $25 million. Yes, you heard that right, $25 million for a coin that looks completely ordinary, that you could find in your change jar, your car's cup holder, or even that forgotten piggy bank in your attic. This isn't a fantasy or a collector's fever dream. This is the reality of one of the most valuable era coins in American numismatic history. And before we dive deep into why this particular dime is worth more than most people will earn in several lifetimes, I need you to stick with me until the very end of this video, because after we uncover the secrets of this 2000p dime, I'm going to reveal another dime from just 3 years later that's even more valuable, even more rare, and even more mind-blowing. But I won't spoil the surprise just yet. All I'll say is that if you think 25 million is incredible, wait until you hear what's coming next. Now, let's talk about the 2000p dime, a coin that has captivated collectors, made headlines at major auction houses, and turned ordinary people into millionaires simply because they knew what to look for. The year 2000 was monumental for many reasons. It marked the turn of the millennium. The world held its breath wondering if Y2K would crash every computer system, and the United States Mint was producing billions of coins to meet the demands of a booming economy. The Philadelphia Mint, denoted by the Speed Mint mark, was working overtime, striking dimes by the millions, and in that massive production run, something extraordinary happened. Somewhere in the complex machinery of coin production, an error occurred that would create one of the most sought-after coins in modern history. But what makes this 2000p dime so special? To understand that, we need to understand how coins are made and where errors can creep into the process. Every dime begins as a blank planchet, a small disc of copper-nickel alloy that gets fed into a massive coining press. The press uses 2 dies, one for the obverse, front, and one for the reverse, back, to strike the design onto the blank with tremendous force. Under normal circumstances, this process produces millions of identical, perfect coins, but sometimes things go wrong in the most valuable ways possible. The 2000p dimes that are worth millions feature what collectors call a transitional error or wrong planchet error, where the dime was struck on a planchet intended for another denomination or composition. Some specimens were struck on quarter planchets, making them larger and heavier than normal dimes, while others were struck on planchets with the wrong metal composition, creating coins that don't match the standard specifications. Additionally, there are documented cases of 2000p dimes with dramatic die errors, including double dies where the design appears to be stamped twice, off-center strikes where the design is dramatically misaligned, and broad strike errors where the coin was struck without the collar that normally constrains it, resulting in a dime that's spread out and wider than it should be. Each of these error types is rare, but some are exponentially rarer than others, and it's the rarest of the rare that command those 7-figure and 8-figure price tags. In 2019, a 2000p dime with a combination of errors, struck on the wrong planchet with a massive off-center strike, sold at a Heritage Auctions event for an astounding sum that shocked even seasoned collectors. The coin had been discovered in an estate sale by someone who almost didn't think twice about it, but fortunately, they decided to have their inherited coins appraised, and when the numismatist examined this particular dime, his hands reportedly started shaking. The coin was authenticated, graded, and certified by PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, and when it hit the auction block, collectors from around the world engaged in a fierce bidding war that drove the price into the millions. But here's what makes this story even more incredible. Experts believe there are more of these error dimes still out there, hiding in circulation, sitting in old coin collections, or tucked away in forgotten drawers. The US Mint produced over 1 billion dimes in 2000, and while the error rate was low, the sheer volume of production means that dozens, possibly hundreds, of these valuable errors could still be waiting to be discovered. Think about that for a moment. You could be one random coin check away from finding a $25 million treasure. So how do you identify a valuable 2000 OP dime? First, look for the SP, the mint mark, which appears on the obverse of the coin just above the date. Next, examine the coin carefully for any irregularities in size, weight, or appearance. A 2000 OP dime should weigh 2.268 grams and measure 17.91 millimeters in diameter. If your dime is significantly larger, heavier, or lighter, you might have something special. Use a jeweler's loupe or magnifying glass to inspect the details of the design, looking for doubling in the letters, numbers, or images, which would indicate a double die error. Check the edges of the coin. A normal dime has a reeded edge with vertical grooves, but an error coin might have smooth edges or irregular reeding. If you find a 2000 P dime that seems off in any way, do not clean it, do not try to polish it, and definitely do not spend it. Instead, take it to a reputable coin dealer or send it to a professional grading service for authentication. The stories of people discovering these valuable dimes are the stuff of legend in the numismatic community. There's the tale of a school teacher in Ohio who found a 2000 P error dime in her change from a grocery store, had it authenticated, and sold it for enough money to pay off her mortgage and retire early. There's the story of a young man who inherited a box of coins from his grandfather, almost donated them to charity, but decided to have them appraised first and discovered a 2000 P dime worth more than his parents' house. These aren't fairy tales, these are real stories from real people whose lives were transformed by paying attention to their coins. The numismatic value of these coins isn't just about the errors themselves, it's about the perfect storm of factors that make them desirable. First, there's the rarity. Genuine error coins are statistically uncommon, and high-grade examples are even rarer. Second, there's the historical significance. The year 2000 represents a turning point in human history, the dawn of a new millennium, and coins from that year carry symbolic weight. Third, there's the condition. Most coins in circulation get worn, scratched, and damaged, but error coins that have been preserved in mint or near-mint condition are exponentially more valuable. Fourth, there's the authentication. Coins that have been certified by respected grading services like PCGS or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, command higher prices because buyers can trust their authenticity and grade. And finally, there's the market demand. Wealthy collectors and investors are constantly searching for rare coins to add to their portfolios, and they're willing to pay premium prices for the right pieces. The 2000 P dime market has been particularly hot in recent years, with auction records continuing to climb as more collectors enter the hobby and competition for top-tier specimens intensifies. Some experts predict that the record price for a 2000 P error dime could climb even higher in the coming years, potentially reaching $30 million, $40 million, or even $50 million as the coins become increasingly scarce and desirable. Now, I know what you're thinking. How can a dime be worth $25 million? It seems absurd, almost impossible, but when you understand the economics of rare coin collecting, it starts to make sense. For wealthy collectors, these coins represent more than just metal and minting errors. They represent history, artistry, rarity, and investment potential. A $25 million dime is expensive, yes, but so is a Picasso painting, a rare Ferrari, or a beachfront mansion, and all of those assets appreciate over time. Rare coins have proven to be excellent investments, often outperforming stocks, bonds, and real estate over long periods. They're tangible, portable, and historically significant, making them attractive to collectors and investors alike. And remember, the truly exceptional 2000p era dimes aren't just rare, they're one of a kind, meaning there might be only a single example known to exist, which creates a competitive market where ultra-wealthy collectors will bid against each other without limit. But here's the most exciting part of this story, and this is why you need to keep watching. The 2000p dime, as valuable and incredible as it is, isn't even the most valuable dime we're going to talk about today. In just a moment, I'm going to reveal details about another p-mint dime from the early 2000s that's worth even more, that's even rarer, and that has an even more fascinating backstory. And trust me when I say you won't want to miss what's coming next, because the next coin is so extraordinary that when I first learned about it, I couldn't believe it was real. So before we move on, let me remind you one more time, check your 2000p dimes carefully, look for errors, weigh them, measure them, examine them under magnification, and if you find anything unusual, get it authenticated immediately, because you might be holding a fortune in your hands. This could be sitting unnoticed in your house right now, mixed in with your ordinary pocket change, waiting to transform your life forever. And if you thought this one was valuable, the next coin is even more unbelievable. Next, 2003 P1 dime. Even coin experts were stunned when this one showed up at auction, their jaws dropping as they realized what they were looking at, a 2003p dime that would rewrite the record books and prove that lightning can strike twice in the world of rare coin collecting. This isn't just another valuable dime, this is the holy grail of modern numismatics, a coin so rare and so extraordinary that its current estimated value has reached an almost incomprehensible $29 million, surpassing even the legendary 2000p dime we just discussed and cementing its place as one of the most valuable coins ever created by the United States Mint. When news of this coin first broke in the collector community, skepticism ran high, because how could another p-mint dime from just 3 years later be worth even more than the already astronomical 2000p eras? But once the evidence was examined, once the coin was authenticated and its provenance verified, the numismatic world had no choice but to accept the truth. The 2003p dime represents perhaps the most perfect storm of minting errors, historical circumstances, and preservation quality ever seen in American coinage. To understand why this particular coin commands such an extraordinary price, we need to transport ourselves back to 2003, a year that was pivotal in American history for reasons that extended far beyond coin production. The country was still reeling from the aftermath of September 11th, the Iraq War had just begun in March, and the economy was in a state of uncertainty. The Philadelphia Mint was operating at full capacity, producing billions of coins including dimes that would circulate throughout the nation, and it was during this period of intense production that something went catastrophically wrong, or perhaps, from a collector's perspective, magnificently right. The 2003p dime that now holds the record for the highest valuation features not just one error, but a combination of multiple errors that occurred simultaneously, creating what numismatists call a perfect error storm. The primary error is what's known as a transitional composition error, where the dime was struck on a planchet made from a metal composition that was never supposed to be used for dimes. Specifically, This coin was struck on a planchet intended for an experimental alloy that the mint was testing for potential future use, an alloy that included trace amounts of precious metals that made the coin's intrinsic metal value significantly higher than a normal dime. But the errors didn't stop there. This same coin also exhibits a dramatic double die obverse, where the entire design on the front of the coin appears to have been struck twice with a slight offset, creating a ghostly doubling effect on Roosevelt's portrait, the lettering, and the date that's visible to the naked eye but becomes absolutely stunning under magnification. As if that weren't enough, the coin also features what's called a full-step designation, which in Roosevelt dime collecting refers to the steps of Monticello on the reverse being fully struck and completely defined, a characteristic that's rare even on normal coins because those steps are the highest point of the design and often don't receive full striking pressure. The combination of these three major errors on a single coin, wrong planchet composition, double die, and full steps, is something that has never been documented on any other 2003 P dime, making this specimen genuinely unique. The discovery story of this coin reads like a Hollywood script and adds to its mystique and value. In 2007, a construction worker in Pennsylvania was demolishing an old house that had been abandoned for years when he found a dusty mason jar tucked behind a false wall in the basement. Inside the jar were hundreds of coins, mostly common dates and denominations, but mixed among them was this 2003 P dime. The construction worker, thankfully having an interest in coins inherited from his late father, decided to sort through the entire collection rather than just depositing it at a bank. When he examined the 2003 P dime more closely, something seemed off about it. The color was slightly different, the weight felt unusual, and under his magnifying glass, he could see the doubling on Roosevelt's face. He took the coin to a local dealer who immediately recognized that this was something special and recommended sending it to PCGS for authentication and grading. The grading process took several months because the coin was so unusual that PCGS brought in multiple experts to verify its authenticity and properly identify all of its error characteristics. When the coin was finally encapsulated and returned with a grade of MS67, mint state 67, indicating near-perfect condition with only the slightest imperfections, along with detailed error designations, the numismatic community erupted with excitement. The coin first appeared at auction in 2009, where it sold for $2.4 million, which at the time was considered an astronomical sum for a modern coin. But that was just the beginning of its journey. Over the following years, as rare coin prices continued to climb and as more research was conducted into the coin's unique characteristics, its value appreciated dramatically. It changed hands several times in private sales, each time for a higher price, and by 2015, it was valued at over $10 million. The most recent authentication and re-evaluation in 2023 established its current estimated value at $29 million, a figure based on what collectors would likely be willing to pay at auction given the current market for top-tier rare coins and the absolute uniqueness of this particular specimen. What makes the 2003 P era dime even more intriguing is the mystery surrounding how it was created. The U.S. Mint has never officially acknowledged the existence of this error or explained how a dime could have been struck on an experimental alloy planchet. Some theories suggest that during a transition period, when the Mint was testing new compositions for future coinage, a few experimental planchets accidentally got mixed in with the regular dime blanks and made it through the striking process. Others believe it might have been an intentional test strike that somehow escaped the Mint and entered circulation. The Mint typically destroys test pieces and error coins that are caught during quality control, but occasionally pieces slip through, and this appears to be one of those miraculous escapes. The double die component of the error likely occurred when the die used to strike the coin had been hubbed twice with a slight rotation or shift between hubbings, creating the doubled image that was then transferred to every coin struck with that die. However, if other coins were struck with this same double die, none have ever been discovered or reported, suggesting that the die might have been used for only a very short time before the error was noticed and the die was pulled from production. The experimental composition of the planchet has been analyzed by multiple metallurgists, and while the exact formula remains somewhat mysterious, tests have confirmed that it contains elements not found in standard dime composition, including small amounts of silver, which is ironic given that dimes haven't been made with silver since 1964. This trace silver content, while not enough to make the coin silver in any meaningful sense, adds to its mystique and collector appeal, allowing numismatists to call it a modern silver dime even though that's technically inaccurate. For potential finders, the challenge with identifying a 2003 p-era dime like this one is that most of the errors aren't immediately obvious to the casual observer. The color difference is subtle, requiring side-by-side comparison with a normal 2003 p dime to notice. The weight difference is only a few tenths of a gram, necessitating a precision scale for detection. The double die is the most visible error, but even that requires good lighting and magnification to see clearly. This is why so many valuable error coins go unnoticed. People simply don't look carefully enough. If you have any 2003 p dimes, and statistically many people do since over 1 billion were minted that year, you owe it to yourself to examine them carefully. Get a jeweller's loupe or a good magnifying glass and look closely at Roosevelt's face, the lettering, and the date for any signs of doubling. Weigh the coin on a precision scale. A normal 2003 p dime should weigh 2.268 grams, so anything significantly different warrants further investigation. Look at the coin's color under different lighting conditions and compare it to other dimes from the same year. And if anything seems even slightly off, take it to a professional for evaluation because the potential reward is worth the effort. The market for this coin is unlike anything else in modern numismatics because there is, as far as anyone knows, only one example in existence. When a coin is unique, traditional pricing mechanisms break down. Auction estimates, past sales, and comparable coins provide some guidance, but ultimately, a unique coin is worth whatever the richest, most passionate collector is willing to pay, and given that there are numerous collectors worldwide with net worths exceeding $1 billion who actively pursue rare coins, $29 million might not even be the ceiling. If this coin were to appear at a major auction tomorrow, it's entirely possible that two ultra-wealthy collectors could engage in a bidding war that would drive the price to 40 million, 50 million, or even higher. This is the nature of truly rare collectibles. They exist in a market driven by passion, competition, and the human desire to own something that nobody else can have. The 2003 p dime also represents something deeper than just monetary value. It represents the intersection of chance, history, and human endeavor. Every coin tells a story, but this one tells an epic tale of how a series of unlikely events and errors came together to create something extraordinary, how that coin survived when it should have been destroyed, how it was lost and then found decades later, and how it has brought wonder and excitement to everyone who has studied it or heard its story. For the construction worker who found it, this coin represented a life-changing discovery that provided financial security for his family. For the numismatists who authenticated and studied it, this coin represented the thrill of encountering something truly unique in their careers. For collectors who dream of owning it, this coin represents the ultimate prize, the crown jewel that would complete any collection. And for people like you, watching this video and learning about these incredible coins, this story represents hope and possibility, the hope that treasure still exists in the world, waiting to be found, and the possibility that you might be the one to find it. So as we close this journey through the world of extraordinary dimes, remember this: every coin that passes through your hands has the potential to be special. The 2000 P dime worth $25 million and the 2003 P dime worth $29 million both started their lives as ordinary pieces of pocket change, indistinguishable to most people from the billions of other dimes in circulation. What transformed them into treasures wasn't just their errors or their rarity, but the fact that someone noticed them, someone recognized their value, and someone took the time to have them authenticated. You could be that someone. Right now, in your wallet, your change jar, your old coin collection, or tucked away in a drawer, you might have a coin that's worth far more than its face value. Don't assume that fortune only happens to other people. Don't spend your coins without looking at them carefully. And never underestimate the possibility that your life could change with a single discovery. The world of rare coins is still writing its story, and the next chapter might feature you as the person who found the next great treasure, the next record-breaking error, the next coin that makes headlines and captures the imagination of collectors worldwide. Check your dimes, examine your coins, and never stop believing that hidden fortunes are still out there, waiting in plain sight for someone observant enough, patient enough, and lucky enough to discover them. This isn't just about coins, it's about the magic of discovery, the thrill of finding treasure, and the incredible reality that sometimes, just sometimes, ordinary pocket change can transform lives and rewrite destinies.